What's up, Minecrafters? KC here, and welcome to another episode of my Let's Play series. Been working in this sheep farm area, and I'm almost satisfied with it. I've separated my different color sheep into pens, which will make it easier for me to come back and harvest the wool from them. And I'm almost satisfied with the way the room is laid out, the way the lighting is there on the ceiling. And I placed hay bales around the walls, and then I came back later and placed this red carpet on top of the hay bales. And that's not just decorative. It also keeps the sheep from jumping on top of the hay bales and then walking out of their pen or walking into maybe one of the pens beside them. So that is, again, it's functional as well as decorative. So as I look at this room, I'm, again, for the most part satisfied. But one thing that is bothering me a little bit is that it's almost too neat. And what I mean by that is this is a sheep farm. And so you really don't expect to have this nice green grass all over the floor here. So what I thought I might try to do for today is to work on this area just a bit more and make it a little less neat. So I'm going to head down to my main chest room and grab some materials. I'm going to use some different types of stone and gravel to create a little more of a random pattern. And I've been experimenting with this a little bit. And so you can see here, for example, that it's not just grass down the length of this hallway. I left intentionally some stone there. And again, it just breaks up the monotony of that pattern a bit. So I'm going to continue experimenting with that and try to find a style that I like. So anyway, I'm going to gather a few different materials that I'm going to use. So I'm going to grab some gravel and a little bit of cobblestone. And I have some smooth stone here that I've created. So I'm going to grab that as well. And I think I will make some bone meal. And I'm going to use that to grow some tall grass in that area. And then finally, I think I will get some fence, which is in one of these chests. Okay, there's some fence, so I'm going to grab that as well. So I think that's what I need for now. So I'm going to head back to that area where my sheep are. And again, over time, I'm going to try to establish a style that better suits this underground area. And that can be difficult. It's not one of the things that I'm really good at. And it's one of the things that I want to try to improve on and, again, sort of introduce that into my different areas of my world here. So I'm going to start here by just creating a pattern in the floor that is random or has the appearance of being random. And so I'm just going to dig out some of these grass blocks. And again, I don't want this to appear incredibly uniform or incredibly neat because again, I want to create a pattern that might look like it belongs in a farm area or a sheep area like this. And so I'm going to come back and I'm going to fill these in with different types of stone. So you can see how I'm leaving a bit of a random pattern there. And I can always come back and adjust it if I don't like what I've done. But I think this is really going to help this area make it look a little more realistic, if you will. So again, I'm just going to continue carving back some towards the back here. And Even move that out maybe into some of these areas back towards these corners. And again, I'm not quite sure what I want this to look like. But again, I know that I don't want just solid grass here. So I'm going to just carve out a bit more. Again, maybe making it look just slightly random. And I'm going to pick up this dirt because that is valuable to me. Okay, so now let's start filling this in. So again, I have a few different types of stone type material here. I have gravel, cobble, and smooth stone. So I'm just going to begin filling this in, maybe starting with gravel. Again, placing it just somewhat randomly. And then I might come back and place a little bit of cobblestone here in a few spots. And then I might come back and lay some smooth stone in here as well. So again, I'm trying to not create a pattern here. I'm trying to just make it look like it's a little more natural. And I'm going to fill in this area here in the back as well. So that's starting to take shape. And again, I may come back and adjust it a bit. So that, again, has given me a bit of a random look. And I think I like that. So it looks like maybe this is a more heavily traveled area back here towards the back as well. So now I'm going to use my bone meal to create some tall grass and probably some flowers in this area as well. So I'm first going to just cover, for the most part, the entire area. And then I'm going to come back and remove some of this because I don't want it to look overgrown. And again, making it look just a little more random. But I'm going to start by, for the most part, filling it up. So now this looks a little too overgrown. And now I'm just going to come back and remove some of this. So I want it to look like a few patches of grass have grown in this area, but not too much. So again, I'm going to take the majority of this out, but leave some. So this area is not too bad. Maybe I'll get rid of this one. Maybe this one as well. And I'm going to leave a few of those flowers. And I find it somewhat difficult to try to make things look random. I think that's something that some people are just good at. I think it is probably something that can be learned. But I think for me, personally, it's not something that comes naturally. So again, this has a little bit of an overgrown feel to it. And I don't want too much of that. So I think that looks pretty good. Maybe I'll remove just a couple more of these. I don't want it too thick in this area. So yeah, I think that looks good. So now, instead of again having all of that nice green grass, we've kept some of that. We've also put a little bit of a walkway in towards the back, and we've allowed some of this grass to grow up in this area. So it looks like a used area, and yet at the same time, maybe an area that's not been fully maintained. So I think that looks nice. I'm pleased with that. And again, this is something I'm going to try to do more of in my world. And I know another area where I might try to do that is just up at the top of these stairs. This is a fairly large area, and I have yet to determine a real purpose for it. Right now, it's really just serving as a connector, if you will, that allows me to travel over here towards my farm area, or to go down these stairs here into my dome. So I think I'm going to try to do a similar type of pattern or structure here. So again, I'm just going to somewhat randomly dig up areas here. And I do want to have a walkway, or what would appear to be maybe a worn area that heads back into either my mine shaft or my grinding room, my dome. Now this area that I've opened up here, that was at one point the entrance to my mine. So I'm just going to fill that in. So that I can place blocks on top of it. And then I'm going to work back towards my farm room as well. Or actually, maybe I'll work from my farm room back towards the center. And again, just trying to be a bit random about the way that I do this. And now I think I'll begin filling that area in, starting with some gravel here. And then also using some cobblestone. And some smooth stone as well. And I'm using a little bit less of the smooth stone, placing just a few blocks here and there, mainly using the gravel and the cobblestone. And how I got started on this thought is when I was working on my dome entrance, I had placed some dirt in that area. And over time, grass started growing, but it didn't fill in completely. And as I looked at it, I thought, I kind of like that pattern that it's created. A little less uniform, which is sort of what you would expect. If you're down underground the way we are here, looks a little bit nicer, I think, having somewhat of a defined walkway, but not too well defined. So it looks worn and maybe not as quite maintained. So I'm going to come back again, just spam this with some bone meal. And then come back and remove the majority of this grass. I think nope, I did run out of bone meal, so make just a little bit more of that. And now again, I'm going to come back and start somewhat selectively removing a bit of this. Again, I don't want it to look too overgrown. Trying to be a bit random. So this side's starting to take shape. I'll work back here in this corner a bit. And then finish up in this section over here. So I think that has the look that I'm kind of going for. Maybe I'll get rid of this one as well. So it really just gives this area a little bit of texture, but it really changes the look and feel of the room. And I have some fence here as well, so if I wanted to, I could maybe place a few fence posts around, again in a little bit of a random locations. Like maybe at one point there was fence through here, but it's maybe fallen apart or something like that. I think I'll move this one. It's lined up with that other fence post just behind it, so I think I'd rather that be maybe a little more offset. So I think that looks nice. Still have a feel for the different directions that you can travel once you enter this room. back again towards my mob grinder area, or towards my farm area, or towards my mine shaft. So I like that. And then one of the other things that I've been thinking about doing here in this area is removing all of these torches. They stick out into the hallway a bit. And so I've been experimenting with a little bit, and what I've come up with that I think I'm going to use here is something like this, some recessed lighting. So if I were to remove back and then place a couple of torches against the wall, and then use the fence to create a little bit of a barrier there to that. Light will still be able to come through it, at least some light will, but the light's not quite as visible. So I think that's a nice way to do that. I do think I will change this post here and move that. So I'm going to fill that in with smooth stone and then place that, or replace it, in this corner. I'll need to get just one more block of wood for that. But I think I'm going to do that down this stairway as well, so that I can get rid of these torches. So I think what I'll do is maybe leave one block and then skip a block. So let me switch here to my axe. So I might do one there and then one here. Let's see, you need to skip a block, so I go here. And then this one. And just continue moving down these steps. And then again, that will allow me to remove these torches because the area will be lit from these recessed areas with torches. So I'll place the torches against the back wall. And again, I will use fence there. Do the same thing here. And then I can get rid of this torch. Place that one. Place the fences there. And again, I'm just going to continue doing this all the way up the stairway. And I think that's going to look nicer because again, I can get rid of these torches on this side of the wall. And I think I just have one more to go here. And another torch. But I think that's going to provide nice lighting. in this stairway. And it's a bit recessed or hidden behind those fences. So I like the way that looks. And again, this is the area that I was talking about before where I had removed all of the stone and placed dirt down here. And again, the grass started to grow in, but before it fully grown or was fully grown in, I went through and replaced the dirt blocks that were remaining that were not yet grass with cobblestone, and I ended up liking the effect of that. So again, it looks like maybe this has traveled some and has worn a bit. So my mob grinder is continuing to function, so I'm just going to grab those items. And I think I have wood in one of these chests. Need a few blocks just to replace up at the top there. And I've been collecting all of my mob grinder items and placing them in these chests. And you can see that I've already filled up the top chest there, and I'm beginning to work on the second chest for bone. Same thing for arrows. That top chest is full. And then feathers. So I'm going to just go back to the top of the stairs and replace that one wood block where I didn't have enough material to complete that. So I think that looks nice. And I like this area as well. Thinks it gives it a little more of a nicer appearance. Again, instead of just all of that neat looking grass. And I may do the same thing down through here as well and around my farm area. And again, I like the way the sheep farm turned out as well. So I think I will end this episode here. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to the next episode.